Hello, my name is Susi Eva Maria Purba. I am from Institute Teknologi Indonesia, and today I will present to you my presentation about measuring the individual performance of a software development team. And this is the outline of my presentation. Okay, when we build a software project, absolutely, we want the software project that we build can be used by many people or many users. But if we are a project manager, we need to know behind the successful of a software project. But how we can measure the team performance? Because the higher the performance is the higher the probability of a successful project. However, the problem is about how to provide a good measure to monitor the team performance. So my team and I will try to deal with this obstacle by propose a new approach to quantify the performance of the team based on the artifacts produced during the development process. And the approach we will propose is based on construction phase, where the source code will be used as the main artifact. So we will experiment using software project data from GitHub repository. And the metrics we will use is based on the selection of metrics that have been used in previous research. So these followings are some of the steps that we use to carry out this research. The first is we define what problem we will solve. Then, by using some literature, we determine several candidates from the metrics that have been used in previous studies. And then we analyze the metrics and calculation method. So after we have been choosing selected metrics, we build a tool that we will use for started experiment with the data we obtain from selected metrics. So in experimental stage, the result of performance scoring will be produced. And after doing all these steps, we also do validation process that will be done by project manager. And the conclusion of the quality of the programmer will be handled by manager or parties involved. There are the analysis that we have done. The first one is version control system. Version control system is a tool used by programmers to record and manage any changes to a collection of files, as well as save software development history. Nowadays, there are two types of version control system that can be used during the development process. The first is centralized version control system, and the other is distributed version control system. Centralized version control system is based on the idea that there is a single central or copy of our project, and programmers will commit their changes to this central copy. It means we can grant access level control on directory level. In distributed version control system, every developer clones a copy of repository and has the full history of the project on their own hard drive. So when we use distributed version control system, we don't need to be connected to the network all the time because this copy or clone has all of the metadata of the origin. The second is an online hosting site. Working on branches is easy in distributed version control system because every developer has an entire history of the code in distributed version control system. So developers can share their changes before merging all the set of changes to the remote server. In centralized version control system, it's difficult and time-consuming to work on branches because it requires to communicate with server directly. There are several tools that belongs to distributed version control system, such as Bazaar, Mercurial, and Git. But at this research, we choose Git because Git is able to overcome the problem of Bazaar and Mercurial, like terms of memory usage, and Git not limited to just one programming language. And also, Git is free and open source. And there are several Git-based services provided by vendors, such as Assembler, Bitbucket, and GitHub. GitHub is one of the most popular types of online hosting site for developing open source software projects. So, based on GitHub, we choose four base metrics that will be used to measure programmer performance. The first is pull request. If a programmer's pull request is accepted and merged into the main repository, which means the programmer is contributing to the software development. The second is when a programmer takes an action issue on a software development project, for example, find a bug, then the programmer will report by creating new issue, and then by following this way, it can be said that the programmer contributed to the software project. The third is commit. Commit is a term for marking changes in program code that have been made by a programmer. Before programmers make pull requests, they will commit first to their repository. And the fourth is line of code. Line of code is an asset of a repository's documentation because programmers will contribute to a software project by adding, changing, or deleting the line of code of the software project. These four metrics will be obtained if we have access to get the data by using the GitHub API. After successfully collecting all the data, here are some of the treatments that we applied in this experiment. Here I show you the total contribution of programmer. We made sample data of 15 contributors of a project here with number of pull requests, number of issue, number of commit, and number of line of code. And here we use three treatments derived from statistical methods to quantifying contribution value. By using the mean method, we can see here that the performance measurement is only affected by line of code because line of code has the highest score compared to the other three metrics. And by using the median, the results obtained are still the same as when using the mean. Or the other words, line of code still dominates. And in standard deviation, the result is still same as the previous two treatments before. And here is the other method that we will use. We have adapted from the other research. It is an influence score. The formula that we have adapted, we call as Prometer score. Unlike the three treatments before, the influence score says the performance in average way, whereas we treat the performance as a whole with a specific time span that can be configured as needed. So here is the design of our research. This is the design of our architecture. The first is web-based application. This application serves to manage and display the programmer's performance value that will be measured. The second is API handler. API handler component is used to make API calls and parse JSON files. And the third is Prometer component. Prometer component calculates programmer performance using metric calculation that have been described in the analysis chapter. And the fourth is GitHub. GitHub is used to obtain the data from software projects that will be used as a object research. And this is a storage. Storage is a medium for save temporary performance result of our measurement. And this is the design of our dashboard. This is the project description. And here we'll show the result of individual performance. Here is the contributor name. And then the score will be shown here. And this is the design of result in JSON. So the conclusion of our research is we are using 4 metrics that can be obtained from GitHub and adopting influence score to measuring the individual performance of a software team development. Okay, that's all about my presentation. Thank you for your attention.